very kind and generous, and I could have listened to you a little bit more. What we just heard made me think hard, and I'm moving into my own domain of international relations. I have been observing that we have left a short period where there was a general understanding of international affairs going into the direction of good global governance, United Nations, nation states becoming modest and humble, and we would get international rules which everybody respected. Now, I'm afraid that we are now living in an age where the classical sovereign nation state is experience a renaissance. Russia is a good example. Russia and sovereignty are inseparable. But I would say the United States are not too far from it. They are also, in many respects, a classical nation state, and so is definitely China and a couple of emerging powers and superpowers. And I have been asking myself when I was listening to this very, very stimulating presentation, aren't we already living in a world where these powers are fiercely competing for resources? And if so, will this new philosophy save us from confrontations which could disrupt everything we have been discussing? I don't want to sound pessimistic. I'm just asking myself where this renaissance of nationally defined entities of the international world will take us. I will add another element to this observation. Let us take the two biggest players in international affairs, the United States and China. If I read the general American philosophy correctly, it says, if there only was democracy in all countries in the world, all problems would be solved. And the Chinese don't agree. They say, yes, we have a lot of problems, but as long as we have growth, we will solve them. Now, behind these two observations, there is a competition of socio-economic political systems. Combining it with the first observation I made, this makes for a pretty complicated landscape. Having said that, I believe things normally work out. So don't take it all too verbally and jump into the Rhine or do other desperate things. I have to say I'm very, very encouraged by this day and a half. And when I lived in Russia for 3 years, visited Tatarstan and Kazan several times, and I liked it. I always thought I would like to stay in contact with this part, with this inspiring and ambitious and civilized part of Russia. And so I'm very happy, Jochen, that you invented this. But I'm at the same time full of admiration and also gratefulness that Valery Sorokin had the courage to engage in this fund. I think it is should have been against all the instincts which he carried on from his days when he was a young Konsumolsen guy. To do such a thing, to invest money from oil and gas money into a Western fund to be invested in Western companies. Where is the logic of this? So, Valery, I have to say, you are an enlightened and far-sighted man, and you deserve to have success, and we will work to make this thing a great success. I'm not aware of anybody else today in Russia or in other former Soviet republics who has dared to do such a thing. But obviously, Valery is a man representing Tatarstan, living there, having lived there all his life, but he is not a Tatar, he is a Russian. What impresses me about Tatarstan is the coexistence of different nationalities and different religions, symbolized by an Orthodox church and a mosque in the Kremlin in Kazan, the more than 1,000-year-old capital of Tatarstan. It is very symbolic that these two main buildings of the two religions in Tatarstan live on the same ground. There were people who opposed the idea of having a mosque next to the Uspensky Cathedral, which is a symbol of Orthodox Russian victory over the Tatars a couple of 100 years ago. And I thought it was politically a very shrewd move. And I hope that this fund and its success will be understood outside Tatarstan, in Russia, maybe in Kazakhstan, maybe in Azerbaijan, other neighboring countries who have basically the same challenge of modernization, as a very good example and benchmark to move ahead and become serious about modernization. And maybe they will even leapfrog what we are trying to do. They jump into the circular economy right away. That would be a good and encouraging example for the world. Well, thank you very much, dear friends. It's great to work with you, and I hope we will be successful.